So I recently finished ATOMFALL, all of the endings, all of the lore, everything. I even did a little review on it lately, which you can find over here. But what I didn't mention in that review was its Easter eggs and its secrets that I discovered along the way. And I really think it deserves its own video, because the attention to detail in this game for the area goes far beyond its pretty landscape. Welcome in everybody, my name is Sal, and I just wanted to quickly pop in and say thank you so much for hanging about. We've actually just surpassed 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and although it's not a lot on the YouTube scene, I just wanted to say thank you. It's a lot for me, and I hope you stick around for more videos like this. Okay, back to the video. It's no surprise that this game is very English coded, which is why the devs chose to pay homage to some of the old classic British TV shows and films with a lot of their Easter eggs. It's pretty impressive to see how many they actually fit in as well. Personally, I only noticed a few of these Easter eggs during my playthrough, and I'm ashamed to say that some of the ones that I found went way over my uncultured head. So starting off in Wyndham, we're gonna start at the top of the town and head down. A lot of people online have pointed to the name Wyndham, and that it could be a reference to the famous English science fiction and horror novelist John Wyndham, who wrote Day of the Triffids, among other things. For me personally, being a local, this one didn't even click as an Easter egg. I just thought they'd taken the name from an old school that used to be nearby the Windscale power plant, so I didn't think much of the name while I was playing the game. It just felt familiar to me. I love the added detail of the little flower on the top of the sign. I thought this was maybe something to do with the Day of the Triffids while I was looking into it, but I realised that I recognised it from somewhere. It's actually a flower taken from the flag of Cumbria, which, although it's not an Easter egg, I do love that they added that in there, representing the locals out here. If this is an Easter egg for John Wyndham and the Day of the Triffids, then the plant enemies that you meet throughout the game, like the big bashy one and the poison one, could make a little more sense. Maybe they were linking it together. I'm not fully sold on this one, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this first Easter egg. There's another egg nearby to be found, and it's right at the dead centre of town. Well, the graveyard. Do you get it? More specifically, the catacombs under the church. On one of the graves you'll notice the name George Buckminster Stobbart. Again, being a local, I originally thought this might be a reference to Stobbart, the logistical company that was very well known in England and was actually founded in Cumbria. But that wouldn't make much sense to other players playing the game unless you're a super local. Instead, it's actually a reference to the main character of the Broken Sword games. And since that is a gaming reference, that makes much more sense. Next up, if you head to the main street of Wyndham and stop by the general shop, you're greeted with a whole plethora of items to rummage through. The first one that caught my eye is on the table to the left when you walk through the door. You can find 4 candles and 4 candles.
4 candles. Here you are. 4 candles.
No, 4 candles.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks.
This, of course, is a reference to one of the famous 2 Ronnies sketch from 1976, where there's a miscommunication between the customer and the shopkeep, with hilarious consequences. There's also another one in this shop that I didn't notice at first. If you go behind the till, you can see a cage with a little blue bird in it. This is a cheeky reference to the dead parrot Monty Python sketch where a customer and the store owner argue on whether the newly purchased parrot is still alive or not.
No, it's resting. All right then, if it's resting, I'll wake it up. Hello, foliage! Wakey, wakey! Rise and shine!
The next stop on our list is the pub. If you head on over to the only pub in town and you go upstairs, you can find this plaque over the fireplace with a list of engraved pub names. Depending on your level of cultural knowledge, you might have clocked that some of these names look familiar, and for good reason. Here's what each name is referenced to. The Grendel's Head is Wyndham Village's own pub. Rover's Return is the pub in Coronation Street. The Woolpack is a pub in Emmerdale. The Queen Vic is a pub in EastEnders, the Nag's Head is a pub in Only Fools and Horses, and the Green Man Inn is a pub in the Wicker Man. For the next secret, we're heading down to the lake. If you head down to the water and to this platform here on the map, you'll see this. It's pretty gross. And as a local Cumbrian, I can 100% confirm that we do in fact have zombie great white sharks in our beautiful freshwater lakes. This Easter egg is apparently from another one of Rebellion developed games called Zombie Army 4. And they've sneakily added this fella into my homeland. But at least he looks a little bit less lively here than he does in the other game. Once you're finished looking at the shark, if you head back down the pier to the boathouse, there's one more Easter egg to be found here. You'll see the building has lots of various benches outside with tea sets and vases, but one of the benches has a chessboard with a white ball on top of it. If you look even closer, you'll see the scoreboard with 2 players, 2 and 6. This is a subtle reference to the 1960s series The Prisoner, in which the main character is called number 6, and has a continual rivalry with number 2. One episode of the show even features a human-sized chess match, which is what this reference alludes to. The white ball on the chessboard is a reference to the ominous rover automation in the series, which was a white balloon-shaped hostile force. Admittedly, I looked at this and I didn't have a clue what it was referencing at all. I had to go to Google for this one. From here, head towards the ATOMFALL Woods entrance, and on your way, you'll pass by the Meerview Hotel. This one's a pretty subtle reference and it's easy to pass by, but if you were a fan of Fawlty Towers back in the day, you may have already noticed it. Take a closer look at the Meerview Hotel sign. It almost looks identical to the one from Fawlty Towers in its shape and also with the little letter hanging off on the end. This was another one of the references that completely went over my head. Even though I watched Fawlty Towers back in the day, I was not as observant as other people on the internet. I was mainlining the mission at this point. Heading out of Wyndham towards ATOMFALL Woods, you'll find a large manor. This wasn't super obvious to me, but if you're big into your spy films, you may get it straight away. Take a closer look at the statue. That's right, it's missing its head. If you look at the base of the statue, you find the head along with a bowler's hat. This is a reference to the James Bond, our super secret agent manor mystery, and the 1964 James Bond film Goldfinger. Goldfinger had the infamous odd job in it. He would throw his hat to kill enemies, or occasionally show off his skills by throwing it at statues. Also, while I was filming this part, I have never gotten close to the crows this much. Look how weird and blue their eyes are. Do you think they're all infected? While we're here, if you pop inside the manor, there's a potential Only Fools and Horses references in here as well. Although it could be a broken chandelier, it bears a strong resemblance to this scene in Only Fools and Horses. What do you think? Think this is a reference, or do you think this is just wishful thinking? If you continue down the main road into ATOMFALL Woods on the northern border, you'll approach the end of the main road and reach a collapsed section. Across the gap on an inaccessible portion of the road, you'll see 3 neatly aligned cars. One red, one white, and one blue, with all of them wearing caps and driving goggles. This is another iconic sequence from The Italian Job, in which the characters execute the final stages of the getaway in these coloured cars. Moving away from the main road and into more dangerous territory, you can find this little gem near the river, close to one of the druid camps here on the map. You'll find a sword sticking out of the stone nearby the river. This one's pretty cool because you can actually interact with it to attempt to pull the sword from the stone, but some of it will get stuck in the stone. Still, half a sword is better than no sword at all. You can use this as a melee weapon if you wanted to. It's not a great weapon, but it can work in a pinch. And of course, this one is a direct reference to the classic legend about Sword in the Stone.
I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. But you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you. Shut up!
If you go a little ways into the forest from here, near where you first meet Mother Jago and Joyce Tanner, at 26.7 east and 90.8 north on the map, you'll come across an ornate altar-like structure with an axe embedded in it, surrounded by chairs. If you look a little closer, you'll also see a ring that's being cut in two by the axe. This is a direct reference to the Council of Elrond scene from The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. Only in this universe, Gimli has clearly been eating his Weetabix because he's managed to slice that thing in half. The next one is super easy to miss if you're speeding through the tunnels at a fast pace. You might miss it completely like I did. If you head back out of the bottom entrance located here on the map, you may catch a glimpse of this creepy doll. You may already recognize it. It's another one from A Zombie Army 4. It's something you would only notice out the corner of your eye if you weren't paying attention, or you might have thought it was maybe just a texture loading in. But no, it's much worse. While trying to film this and get the actual footage, I had to sneak up and then use photo mode to find it because every time I tried to run past it, the doll would disappear before I had a chance to turn around. So if you come in from this bottom entrance, you probably would have missed it. But if you're going out of this bottom entrance for the first time, that's the only time you can actually catch it. Otherwise, it doesn't show up. Pretty creepy. I don't like it. 0 out of 10. Okay, now we're headed over to Skethermore. If you go to this location on the map in Skethermore, you'll find an underground bunker entrance. When you head inside, you should be able to find a helmet that doesn't quite fit in with the rest of them on the shelf. That's because this helmet is from the comic book character Judge Dredd. Honestly, if I wasn't actively looking for this to get the footage, I would have completely missed it. And I did completely miss it when I was playing through this game, so thank you Google for letting me know this was here. The next Easter egg I actually did find myself, but I didn't have a clue what I was looking at. The only thing that I could think of was it was 3 Men in a Tub, which is a children's rhyme. But on further research, it seems to be from The Last of the Summer Wine, where 3 of the main characters are trying to deliver a bath to somebody, and of course, it didn't go as planned. This is pretty obvious when you look at the clip of the fellas in their hats and then compare them to the skeletons in ATOMFALL. Also, bonus to Reddit for pointing out that this also shows up in the Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer comedy trailer where they show 3 blokes in a bath. This is one of the coolest ones to find for me. If you're looking towards the Skidmore interchange entrance from behind, you might be able to spot what looks like a little telephone booth. But unlike the other ones in the game, this one's blue, which is a dead giveaway for it being a Doctor Who reference. I got pretty close with the game's photo mode by climbing up the side of the hill, but there is actually a stepping area that you can go up on the right to go see it. When you do though, you'll hear the noise as it vanishes into thin air, only leaving behind a hat with no owner. It's hard to find somebody that hasn't heard the story of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, or maybe even seen the film at this point, but this Easter egg in Skidmore is an ode to that tale. If you go to these coordinates on the map, you'll find an abandoned cottage cellar. And once you're inside, you need to solve the little puzzle to get into Narnia. It might not be as magical as Narnia is, but it's still pretty cool to see in a game. It's no secret that there is a ton of comic book influences in ATOMFALL. You even get to collect comics and lunchboxes around the world. And if you head here, just outside of Brinsop Manor, you'll see a downed helicopter. This is where you can find a little nod to another character in a comic book called Dan Dare. He was a British sci-fi comic book hero. If you head into the helicopter at the front, you can find this note to Dan from Digby. Digby was Dan's loyal aide in the comic book series. It's small and it's subtle, and I think it's pretty cool. Okay, we're heading over to Slattendale now. This is my favorite Easter egg to find because it's so lovingly put together and it's so heckin' comical. If you head over to the Slattendale to this location and look up, you'll see this peculiar sight. You can't get any closer on foot, but you can use camera mode to see the full extent of the Easter egg, and it references absolute iconic British show, Mr. Bean, and this scene in particular. Honestly, even if I told you the context for the scene, it would still be outrageous. When wandering around Slattendale, it's pretty hard to miss the graffiti all over the walls, and this was where I first spotted Kilroy. Kilroy was here as a meme that became popular during World War II. It was typically seen in graffiti. Its origin is debated, but the phrase and the distinctive accompanying doodle became associated with GIs in the 1940s. He does show up a couple of times around the place, but this one in particular had me puzzled. Soon after you leave the bunker that you first wake up in, you'll find this guy dead on the ground, but he also has a paintbrush. I never really understood why this character was just dead on the ground here, but my running theory is that maybe he's the graffiti artist and he came a bit too close to the beehive over here. Okay, if you're in the interchange, head to the robotics lab. This one was thanks to somebody on Reddit that pointed this out, because I completely missed it. If you go into this room, crouch down, and have a look at this handsome guy. From what I've gathered, he's one of the main characters from a 1996 game called Zed, which is by the Bitmap Brothers for the Sega Saturn. And that would make sense since Rebellion Developments acquired Bitmap Brothers back in 2019. Okay, the last one is endgame stuff, so it has a major spoiler ahead and is very endgamey, so if you haven't played yet and you don't want the spoilsies, here's your chance to skip ahead, okay? You gone? Good. Again, I'm not sure if this one's classed as an Easter egg or if it's a funny little nod to another game, but it was pointed out at the very end of the game if you choose to help one of the NPCs retrieve a sample from Oberon, you get this little line of dialogue while the drill's doing its thing.
Minor fractures detected.
This is thought to be a nod to the original Half-Life game when Gordon would damage their suit a little bit. They would get the suit warning that said the same thing.
Minor fracture detected.
So that's all the ones that I could find in my playthrough, and the ones that I was directed towards through the magic of the internet and Reddit. The level of detail they went into with this game was pretty amazing. So good in fact that you can even take a break from trying to escape the quarantine zone and go play on the Playpark if you wanted to. Anyway, that's all from me on this one. Did you find these secret Easter eggs? Did you find different ones? I would truly love to hear about it in the comments down below. And thank you so much for watching this to the end. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and like the video so that I know to put more of this content out. And I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye 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 bye! What do you think of these Easter eggs? Did you find them? Did you shove them up your ass? Oh, my neck. Wow!